Today's video is sponsored by Morning Brew. Stay tuned to learn more. Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Caboose bringing you another Marvel's Wolverine PS5 video, and today what we're going to be talking about is going over the top 5 villains that I think need to be in this game. Of course, this is all subject to opinion, but I wanted to go over the villains that I really want to see Insomniac tackle in this Wolverine game. And if you're excited for Insomniac developing Wolverine for the PlayStation 5, like pretty much everybody is, well then scroll down right now and hit that thumbs up button. Share your excitement with me. If you're new here and you want to keep up to date on everything regarding this game, we will end up hearing about it at some point in the future, and I will absolutely bring you all the latest and greatest. Well then subscribe to this channel and turn on those notifications. You'll be immediately notified when a video goes live, and I'll keep you up to date on Wolverine PS5. And before we get things started with our honorable mentions, let's have a quick word from today's sponsor. Alright, so today's video is sponsored by Morning Brew. Huge thanks to them for sponsoring the video. And for those who might be wondering what they are, well, let me explain. Morning Brew is the best place for you guys to get your quick fix on the latest news in tech, business, health, education, or even if you're into sports, it's got plenty of that for you too. Believe me when I say it'll be the best way for you to start your morning. It certainly helped me in keeping up with what's going on in the world right now, and will definitely help you in staying informed. All it takes is 5 minutes of your time and you'll be caught up and starting your day off right. Plus, Morning Brew is completely free. It's easy to sign up to. You're gonna learn something brand new every single time that you use it. You'll even get interesting articles sent straight to your email. I got this article about Take-Two agreeing to buy Zynga for $12.7 billion, which is really important for somebody who wants to stay tapped into the games industry. So what are you waiting for? Head to that link in the description box below and sign up to Morning Brew today. And with all that being said, let's get back to the video. Okay, so you guys know the drill. We're gonna start off with the honorable mentions first, and then we're gonna get into the actual top 5. In the honorable mentions, I have villains that I do want to see in Wolverine PS5, but I don't think need to be in the game, like the top 5 that I have. So starting things off, I got Juggernaut. If this game gets an M rating, imagine battling a massive, unstoppable force like Juggernaut. It would make for such a brutal, wicked fight. I mean, you have this brute force and this unkillable machine going at it, smashing through walls, crashing through floors. It can make for a really intense boss battle. Think about the opening boss fight against Kingpin in Spider-Man PS4 if it were M rated. That would be insane. Moving on though on my honorable mentions list, I also have Cyclops. That's right, I picked a hero, I picked an X-Men. Don't give me some crap, okay? Hear me out. Scott and Logan have always had a bit of a rivalry. They've always had a bit of a back and forth. They've always butted heads. So it would be interesting to see if Cyclops were to show up at some way in Wolverine PS5, and not necessarily as an adversary, but because of Logan's stubbornness, they end up fighting. It doesn't have to be this brutal brawl. It doesn't have to end in one of them killing one another. It just has to be a cool, interesting fight that will also be a way to create some world building and to introduce some other X-Men characters and to let us know that this is a lived-in world. Plus, I think we all secretly hope that this Wolverine game could lead potentially to an Insomniac developed X-Men game. I mean, that would be amazing. And then I also have the Sentinels on my honorable mentions list. I know this is asking for a little bit too much, but imagine if we could get essentially a remastered version, an updated version of the Sentinel boss fight from the X-Men Origins Wolverine game. That would be incredible. I would be all for that. I don't think this is likely. I highly doubt that we're going to see the Sentinels show up in any way in Wolverine PS5, but a man can dream, okay? And then finally, on my honorable mentions list, I have Lady Deathstrike, and there is no doubting that she is one of the most iconic adversaries for Wolverine, and I feel like just in general, it would be a missed opportunity for her to not show up and be a presence in this game in some way. Who knows, maybe we could get like a DLC expansion for Wolverine PS5 that has Lady Deathstrike hunting down Logan and going after him. And now here we are at the top 5. These are characters or villains, whatever you want to call them, and let's call them antagonists that I would love to see, that I think need to be in this game. And at number 5, I have the Incredible Hulk. Listen, considering the Easter egg that we saw in the reveal trailer, and as well the origins of Wolverine, this just makes a lot of sense. Does anyone remember that Hulk vs. Wolverine animated film? I definitely do. It was kick-ass. Now I want to have the controller in my hands and basically be playing through that fight as Wolverine himself. And the lethality of Wolverine would totally work in a scenario like this, facing off against the Hulk where he's pretty much indestructible. Slashing, slicing, stabbing, dicing, no holds barred fight between the Incredible Hulk and the best there is at what he does. Make it happen, Insomniac. Then at number 4, I have Omega Red. Once again, does anyone remember Wolverine vs. Hulk, that animated movie? That's where I was first introduced to this character and where I realized that he is completely underutilized in any media outside of the comics. I always wish we could have seen him in a live action movie, but I wish even more that we could go toe-to-toe against Omega Red with the controller in our hands. What Omega Red is capable of in a potential M-rated game playing as Wolverine could make for a legendary boss battle, but it would also make for a very challenging fight, which is what intrigues me the most about Omega Red potentially being on the roster of villains in this game. Then at number 3, I have Sabretooth, and come on, you can't have anything Wolverine related, or especially having a brand new Wolverine game for the first time in over a decade and not include Sabretooth in it. Plus, if we're talking about the likelihood of these villains showing up in this game, I think that Sabretooth is probably at the top of the list. He's not at the top of my list in terms of villains that I think need to be in the game, but he's certainly a villain that I think is extremely likely to show up in Wolverine PS5, so don't be surprised if we see him. There's a deep history between Wolverine and Sabretooth. He doesn't have to be the main villain of Wolverine PS5 or anything, but he should show up and give us a reason to take him down. Then my runner-up, at number 2, I have a villain that was butchered in the live-action movies, a villain that I think needs a do-over and needs to be put in the public eye in a better way, and I think there is no better developer to do that but Insomniac. That is none other than the Silver Samurai. It would be a damn shame, a wasted opportunity in my opinion, for Insomniac not to include the Silver Samurai in Wolverine PS5. Just imagine a Ghost of Tsushima style duel against the Silver Samurai. The rain's pouring, it's night, you're only lit by the moonlight above you. It could make for one of the most visually striking boss battles in video game history. I know I'm taking a little concept here, an idea in my head, and really running with it, but Insomniac has done such a good job with the Spider-Man games. They've really made such a grandiose world, and the boss battles, even though in terms of gameplay they aren't the greatest, in terms of scope and scale and cutscenes and the way that they play out, they are pretty amazing. So if we could get something like that with Wolverine and the Silver Samurai, I would be a very happy Wolverine fan. Then finally, at number 1, the villain that I want to see the most in Wolverine PS5, it is, well, considered to most an X-Men villain, and that is Magneto. I know this is wishful thinking, and I also know that a lot of people don't want him to just be a villain for Wolverine, but the ultimate threat for the X-Men. But hear me out again, please. Growing up, reading the comics that my brother had collected, the X-Men comics that he had collected, one of the most memorable moments for me was this moment in the comic books where Magneto rips out all the adamantium out of Wolverine's body, bringing him back to the bone claws. The way Magneto and Wolvie have always had this vendetta against one another creates a very deep rivalry. It creates some good lore. I would love to see that moment from the comic books, that iconic moment recreated in the game. And if it's M-rated, it could be extremely brutal and set us on the path for vengeance for an epic finale facing off against Magneto. And in my headcanon, if I'm right in the game, we don't defeat him by killing him or anything. We defeat him and he gets away. Then we got a post-credit scene where we're talking to Professor X and Wolverine's got unfinished business, but he needs a team. He needs the X-Men to help him take down Magneto, and we lead ourselves into a full-on X-Men game developed by Insomniac. How about that, guys? What do you think? Would that not make for the dream Wolverine game or what? Sound off with your thoughts in the comments below, and there you have it. That is my top 5 villains that I think need to be in this game the most, but I want to kick it to you guys. This is just my opinion and you don't have to agree with it. That's the best part. Sound off in the comments below with what your top 5 is. What villains do you want to see in Wolverine PS5 the most? Of course, if you enjoyed today's video, if you could consider leaving a like rating on it, it would show your support and I would really appreciate it. I'm Caboose, and you can click on screen to make your way to one of the other videos on the channel, or you can click my logo to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter or join my Discord. Those links are in the description. Drop a like if you enjoyed, leave a comment if you have an opinion, and subscribe if you're new. See you guys later.